Man's wisdom versus God's plan. Isaiah chapter 28 to Isaiah chapter 29. Historical recap. Under Kings Uzziah 767 to 740 BC and Jotham 740 to 735 BC, Judah opposed the Assyrian king Tiglath-Pileser III 745 to 727 BC. But in 735 BC, Ahaz, who favored forming an alliance with Assyria, replaced Jotham. The allies King Pekah of Israel and King Rezin of Syria declared war on Judah. Though Isaiah had warned Ahaz about forming an alliance with Assyria, the king made a treaty with Tiglath-Pileser, who subsequently killed Rezin and occupied Damascus. Hoshea replaced Pekah, and Israel paid tribute to Assyria in return for protection. Consequently, Ahaz was confident that his alliance with the Assyrian king would keep Judah safe. But God would use Assyria to discipline Judah for its rebellion and lack of trust in him. The defeat of Ephraim and Syria removed them as buffer states and allowed Assyria to start advancing towards Judah, unopposed. Isaiah again appealed to Judah's leaders to trust God alone for protection. Rebuke for the leaders. Isaiah reminded the people of the northern kingdom's demise. The Assyrians had conquered Samaria, Israel's well-fortified capital, in 722 BC. After a 3-year siege led by Shalmaneser V, because of the Israelite leaders' drunkenness, the pride of Ephraim had faded like a flower in a hailstorm. Using the Assyrian Empire, God had released his power against Ephraim. Isaiah again followed words of judgment with words of hope and mercy. The Lord of hosts would restore justice and provide strength to the faithful remnant. The priests were responsible for teaching the written words of God and the prophets. Instead, they mocked Isaiah and viewed his words as simplistic baby talk. In response, Isaiah warned that if the leaders refused to listen, the people would fall backward and be broken and snared and taken. When the Assyrians invaded, despite Isaiah's warnings, Judah's leaders followed their own plans for protection against the Assyrian threat. Instead of consulting and trusting God, rebellion against God destroyed their leaders' discernment. They ignored the very basic command Moses had given them, to love God exclusively. Isaiah advised King Hezekiah and his leaders to put their trust in God's power and provision instead of in Egypt. God's provision was that He had laid a foundation in Zion, a stone, a tested stone, a precious cornerstone of a sure foundation. Isaiah had already identified God's provision as the promised Messiah, Emmanuel, who would establish an everlasting kingdom. Those who would believe in this stone would not be in haste. Other translations say they would not be disturbed, never be stricken with panic, or never be shaken. But because his people were not trusting in his foundation, God would judge them with justice and righteousness.